Hello, folks. This is R. Payne here, marriage, politics, and sports, and unique sports talk. You're on a swivel at the sports bar. I had some technical difficulties before, so I'm not going to restart the whole live, but I'm going to finish it off. There are a couple of things we went through real fast on a brief. For anybody just coming through or coming back, it's hit the like button, and all that kind of good stuff. Copyright disclaimer. So we talked a little football, and the truth of the matter is I'm not going to replay this thing about these two guys discussing whether Sanders should start over Watson. I believe Sanders should start, but I think the Browns have to pick Watson because of the amount of money they're paying him. And so I went through with this. I'm going to keep the other clip before it broke down. And so if you want to see some of the stuff I said before, just refer back to that. College football, this guy said that Penn State has a weak schedule, and they do. And he goes through that. You can see that on the other one. And so I was just moving forward. So I was coming up to the NBA, and I was going to say that the biggest conversation so far now is that LeBron is going to Philly, and he stacked the deck, right? He stacked the deck, and and so there's a lot of memes. So the first meme, I think y'all can hear this. I'm gonna play it. And I thought it was pretty funny.
I'm locking in for ring number 5. Yeah? So you just jump on whatever train's rolling down the tracks, yo? Yo, Rock, you can't just call the king a bandwagoner right to his face. Nah, it's about the bigger picture. Plus, Bronny's coming to run point. Yo, Bronny, for real? Can that kid take a hook? Nobody passes here. They bust your jaw, yo. Yo, he's a point guard, Rock. He's running pick and rolls, not going 12 rounds with Clubber Lang. If he plays here, he got to drink raw eggs and chase chickens at 4 in the morning, yo. Man, I spend $2 million a year on my body. I'm not chasing chickens. Hold up. If he catches it, do he keep it? Grocery prices are crazy. Y'all got zero game. Hit him with smooth lines. Girl, did it hurt falling from heaven? I just stared at Adrian without blinking until she stopped walking. Worked every time, yo. Listen, man, I've been with Savannah since high school in Akron. Kings don't need pickup lines. At the end of the day, Broad Street Parade is guaranteed, period. I don't know, yo. Embiid hurt his knee opening a bag of chips yesterday. Yo, what? Nah, man. Yo, stop talking. I'm grabbing a Whiz with cheesesteak before y'all jinx us. Listen, man, at the end of the day, I'm locking in for ring number 5. Yeah? So you just jump on with... Jalen, I just arrived in Philly, and we must trade for Bronny. LeBron, the Lakers will never trade Bronny without demanding a superstar back. Leave it to Lee GM. I am flying to LA to negotiate with Luka. Wait, LeBron, how are you going to convince Luka face-to-face? Luka, I am here in person. Trade Bronny James to Philadelphia right now. Okay, LeBron, but in return for Bronny, you must give us Jaylen Brown. Deal! But you also have to hand over your recovery beers. Never. My beers stay. I will give you chocolate chip cookies instead. Luka, did you really just execute a trade with LeBron in person? Yes, Rob, we got Jaylen Brown, I kept my beers, and gave LeBron cookies. Wait, am I really getting shipped to Philadelphia right now? Yes, Bronny, your dad always gets what Lee GM wants in the end. LeBron, did you literally just trade me to LA to get Bronny? Sorry, Jalen, but family always comes first in Lee GM's roster decisions. Look on the bright side, Jalen. You get to play with Luka. I literally just signed my contract in Philadelphia 5 minutes ago. LeBron, did you seriously just bench me so Bronny can start point guard? Yes, Tyrese, Bronny's the one option, and I get all the cookies. My dad runs this team now, not you. Lee GM traded Jaylen Brown for his son and cookies. Jalen, I just arrived in...
Oh, man. You know what, man? I think this is pretty funny.
Ron, put the phone down, old head. Take off that purple and gold tank top. We are currently committing a federal crime to rescue Anthony Davis from his hostage situation with the Washington Wizards. What? Reject your player option right now and sign our $15 million food stamp mid-level exception. We are putting the Team USA Medicare Avengers back together. Look at the vision. The 2024 Olympic Avengers are back. I'm down to run it, but someone has to carry my bags. My back is literally held together by tape and prayers right now. We got you, AD. LeBron's got the bags. All right, I signed. But let's establish the boundaries right now. I am the first, second, and third option. Wait, what? I need you to understand your role, little bro. You are a 3-and-D role player now. You run around the screens, you play defense, and you do not touch the rock unless I bail you out with 3 seconds on the shot clock. LeBron daddy is the king. Steph, listen to him. I won't lie to you, AD. I signed the contract, baby. I told you when you got drafted back in 2012, we would play on the Warriors with Steph in 2027. Bron, I swear you always capping, bro. Legit, the amount of memes that come from you lying is absurd. I'll be injured half the season with Jimmy, but sign me up, though. Boom! AD is locked in.
Oh, man. Listen, I tell you what, man. I think these memes about LeBron going to Philly are not going to stop. If he doesn't win a ring.
Jalen, I just arrived in Philly and we must trade. Listen, man, at the end of the...
Crazy. I tell you what, he's going to be hell to pay if he doesn't win a ring. Okay, so the WNBA is the talk of everything right now. And so what I was thinking about, what's new on the WNBA court about basketball? And I put a big question mark there on purpose because there's nothing new. Nobody's talking about the game. Nobody gives a shit about the WNBA game. All they're talking about is lesbianism, transgender, what the definition of a woman is, the whole 9 yards. Nobody's talking about the game. And there's been some pretty good games out there. I mean, there have been some decent games, and people are watching. The ones with Caitlin and some of the other players are really stepping up. The rookie that's on the Lynx, she's pretty good. She's probably going to win Rookie of the Year, but nobody's talking about that because now the WNBA says they got a commission to define what a woman is. Now, if anybody out there is still a Christian, I know America has fallen off the goddamn, excuse my language, Lord, right? The slip. No human is going to define what a woman is because it's already been defined for us, right? A woman was defined when God made Eve. And so we don't need no stupid lady from the WNBA to come out and try to define what a woman is. Because they should have never even opened those can of worms. And so it's crazy. So that's what everybody's talking about. Right? So the WNBA is killing itself. And once they put a man in the league, even if he's dressed like a woman, it's going to be hell to pay. So what's happening on the court? Who's in contention for the championship? Where are the rivalries where they're playing basketball against each other as opposed to trying to hurt each other on the court? The whole season is off the rails right now because of what they're talking about and everybody weighing in. So I got something on that a little later. I just wanted to put the big question mark there, and I really purposely said, what's happening on the court? Because none of the people from ESPN, any of the talking heads, none of them are talking about what the game is. Right? They're not even talking about that shit no more. Okay. And, so the women played for 30 years and they waited to a chance to ride in, charter airplanes and get $1 million contracts and everything just to blow it because of jealousy, pettiness, and this incessant mind-bending, crazy thing to say a man could just put on a dress one day and call himself a woman, and the rest of the whole country and the world has to agree with that shit. Anyway, so that's what's going on in the WNBA. Controversy, right? Just controversy, but not the game. No, not the game. Controversy. What's going on, Catellia? I see you there. So here's the stats. So let me say that here's the stats, right? And we all know that the top 8 teams get into the playoffs, and the Fever are contenders this year. And the Aces, I think they're just waiting for the playoffs because they almost win all the time. And so they're still in contention. But the Lynx are playing pretty well, right? The Lynx look pretty good. They got great rookies. They're scoring. But the Fever are scoring a lot of points. I think they're scoring the most points in the WNBA right now. So it should be a great playoff season. There's 44 games, so there's a significant amount of games left. So there might be some shuffling in the top 4 before it's over. And, of course, you want to be in at least the 4th position or earlier so you can get that first round at home. So there you have it, the WNBA in a nutshell. Baseball. All right, so everybody knows that yours truly is not a big baseball fan, but it's happening. Baseball's coming up, and it's, they're drudging through the damn season. I got over 100 games played and all that kind of good stuff. So the Dodgers are the Dodgers. I believe the Dodgers are going to be in contention again. The Braves are looking good. The Astros, the Yankees are going to make it, but then they're going to get eliminated because the bats are going to go quiet again, just like it does every year for them. Pitching is going to win the World Series, just like it always does. It's just same old script. Big Three is drudging along. And it's kind of being lost in a lot of other source, but, the games are being televised on TV. People are watching, people are showing up. You know, the playoffs are not far away. So there you have it. So if you're a Big Three fan, you could catch it on, I think, CBS. You could catch it on a couple of other stations. So there's a lot of places to watch it. BET is showing some of the games. CBS is showing the games. So you can watch it on primetime network TV without having cable. How about that? All right, so here's where we're going to get into some more discussions where I'm going to play some stuff so y'all can hear the consternation and the destruction of the WNBA by, idiocratic virtue signaling by the league and their commissioner and their coaches and the lesbians and all of these people trying to keep something alive that will destroy the league if biological men are able to play in the WNBA. And I think whatever goodwill that they built up, I think they lose half their audience that wasn't there for them in the first place, okay? Because the reason why the audience got built up is because of a heterosexual white woman, and some of the other younger stars that are in there. So we're going to say, nah, we don't want that. We want to have a big, buxom ass, dick slinging man with a dress on to be a WNBA superstar. You're going to destroy the league.
We already know that the WNBA just got cornered, and they got cornered by reality. We're literally seeing in real time biology closing in on them like a vice. But I don't think any of us saw what was coming next. Just when you thought
Now, I purposely got a guy like Steve Turley because he's a political pundit, kind of political guy. But here's where the intersectionality between sports and politics and social engineering and all that shit comes together. And the WNBA finds themselves at the nexus of this whole thing. And I'm not so sure that they really thought about what impact it's going to have on the league, especially at the heightened point that they've gotten based on what people were thinking that they were becoming more mainstream with Caitlin Clark and some of the other women who are women and who are heterosexual women who like to play the game, and they got a whole bunch of new fans coming in and all that kind of stuff, and they're about to blow it all. They're about to blow it all.
It is a woman crisis at the Women's National Basketball Association had hit peak absurdity. I'd like to introduce you to what many are calling the next great star of the WNBA, a 6'3" Hulk that's already dominating the European women's basketball circuit. And because of the WNBA's war against reality, that Hulk is now threatening to bring that dominance here to the United States. Stick with me to the very end of this video because we're about to find out why this isn't just a controversy anymore. This is a trap with no exit, a genuine lose-lose for the league, no matter which door they walk through. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your patron professor, here to help you make sense of the madness with breaking news and analysis you're not going to get anywhere else. So you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the controversy that has exploded throughout the WNBA, the Women's National Basketball Association. Indiana Fever guard Sophie Cunningham lit a fuse when she told ESPN a few weeks back that she wanted to protect young girls from having to compete against as well as undress in front of biological men. She said it was just common sense. And the White House itself weighed in with Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirming that this is an issue that the president feels very strongly about, keeping biological men out of women's sports and thereby maintaining the integrity of women's sports. Naturally, the ultra-woke wing of the WNBA revolted, with a number of players and coaches making the nonsensical argument that the league should be open to literally all, just as long as you identify as a woman, whatever that happens to be.
Hey, listen, now, one of the things I want to stop this guy, right? Because I thought about this long before the WNBA. I often wondered why women the white women in America, the black women in America, the women in general in America didn't have an all-out revolt when Bruce Jenner put on a dress and won Woman of the Year. There's got to be a mental reason for that, because women in general have fought for all the shit that they wanted to fight for: feminism, to vote, to be better than men, to take men's jobs, to be in men's spaces, to all this shit. So they allowed the millions and the hundreds of millions of women sat back and watched a man who was slinging dick for his whole life put on a dress, change his name, and become Woman of the Year. And he didn't bleed 1 month out of any of his entire life, and women didn't say shit but celebrated it. So y'all brought this on yourselves. Women brought this on themselves. You know, it's not a recent thing. The revolt should have happened as soon as Bruce Jenner did what he did, and before. And so now you can't put the genie back in the bottle, because we got a Supreme Court justice who sat up there and looked like a blithering idiot when she was being at confirmation and said she didn't know what a woman was. You know what I'm saying? She went through a whole goddamn life, got married, all the stuff. I think she probably has children. She didn't know what a woman was or is. You know, this is the kind of delusion that is permeating the country. And then on the flip side, so well, it's not so many of them. These are gateways. These kind of mental, where the country has to be subservient to a bunch of people with mental issues. We all have to acquiesce to that. It's a big issue. It's a big issue. And so, you know, so here, Sophie Cunningham didn't ask to be asked a question about transgenderism. She didn't come out in a press conference and volunteer that. Somebody asked her a question, and she answered. She says, hey, listen, I'm for little girls. And the fact that most of the women in the United States are not for the protection of little girls and women in locker rooms, it really boggles my mind. It boggles my mind. There should be an all-out revolt, not by men, not by anybody. It should be women. Be a man. You know why? You know what the ultimate misogyny is? A man saying he could put on a dress and know more about being a woman than you. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, the WNBA walked right into this trap. And, you know, now they're stuck. Not with the shit that Royce, Reese is doing, not Royce, is doing, and Enos Cantor. I mean, those guys are, you know, it's a joke. They're just challenging things. But that buxom guy from France, he just decided he wanted to be a woman 5 years ago. And they have a picture of him when he was doing athletics, and he looks like the Hulk. You know what I'm saying? So just miss me. So, I mean, I got something for y'all asses too. So let me finish. Steve Turley is a political pundit kind of guy, but he kind of brings it from that standpoint of the intersectionality of what's really going on.
Ironically, this fight exposed the league's dirty little secret. Their own collective bargaining agreement says, quote, only players who are women are eligible to play. But of course, it never actually ever defines what a woman actually is, right? That loophole practically dared reality to come knocking, and boy, did it ever.
You know why? And I'm going to let it play again. I'm going to stop it. You know why I didn't get into all the details of saying what a woman is and all that shit? Because not so long ago, when we mentioned the word woman, we all understood what that meant. When I say a man and you say a woman, we all understood what that meant. That you were born with the sex of a woman, or born with this of a girl into a adolescent into a woman, and the same thing for a man, right? We didn't have to put all of these other qualifiers in front of woman or man. We knew what that was. You woke up and if you had a Johnson, you was a boy, and if you had a vagina, you was a girl. None of this other horse shit just came into play with this liberalism and the fact that the country is off the rails. So I can see when they wrote the CBA, they didn't say, well, you got to be a biological woman and the XY and the XY has to be at this level, because just saying a woman should have been enough.
It started last Friday when former NBA player Enes Kanter took to social media and announced that he is officially declaring himself a WNBA prospect for the 2027 draft. Quote, after careful consideration reviewing the current eligibility guidelines, I am officially declaring myself a WNBA prospect. If simply declaring who you are is all that's required, then I meet every single requirement necessary to compete in the WNBA. And then just hours after that announcement, 6'8" NBA star Royce White announced this.
Oh, earlier this week, I made the announcement. I'm transgender. I'm a woman. I identify as sometimes identifying as a woman for purposes of basketball, professional basketball. So I'll be declaring for the WNBA draft in 2027 as well. I mean, I think I'd be unstoppable, but I'm a team first guy. I'm a pass first kind of player. I do the little things. I led my team in all 5 major stat categories at Iowa State University. So I do a little bit of everything. I'll do whatever the coach needs me to do. I'll do whatever the girls need me to do.
So that's NBA first-round draft pick Royce White identifying as a sometimes identifying transgender woman. It was absolutely brilliant. It's the very definition of demonstrating absurdity by being absurd, which the great Rush Limbaugh made an art form out of.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So we get to the point where this guy's going. Now, I think he goes on, and they're going to talk about the commissioner and the fact that they have this quandary going on. And let's just play another minute or so, and then we'll move on.
But as it turns out, those announcements were just the beginning of the WNBA's nightmare. Meet the French basketball player Julie.
Look at that dude, man. Look, come on. Come on, man. Look at that guy. He put on this little top to act like, he got, titties and stuff like that. But still, look at him.
Tétart, originally born Julian Tétart. Julie is a 34-year-old transgender woman playing for Monaco in the French Women's Basketball League. Needless to say, as you can imagine, Julie has dominated the league, winning Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and Domestic Player of the Year in Europe, which caused Outkick founder Clay Travis to call for Julie's immediate drafting into the WNBA. This is exactly the kind of player that all of these woke virtue signalers said they would be happy to play against. Okay, let's see it. And when contacted about it, Julie actually entertained the idea. Of course, who wouldn't imagine being given the opportunity to play in the WNBA? However, as things stand, the WNBA has gone silent. They're silent over whether they would invite the French player to play in the league, even though they've been openly virtue signaling that the league is open to everyone who identifies as a woman, whatever that is.
All right, so we know where this is going. So I do have another one of these posts where another guy comes on and Steven Jackson talks about how he feels about this. And then, of course, Mr. Race Baiter in Chief kind of chimes in as well. So I'm going to cut through some of this stuff and just play what Steven Jackson said. Then I'm going to fast forward to listen to the pompous ass over here, Ryan Clark, what he says.
File on Sophie Cunningham and her being a judge show you what Steven Jackson said, and then Ryan Clark response to him and others who've had things to say like this.
Anybody who thinks a man should play women's sports, a born man should play women's sports, you're an idiot. You are an idiot, bro. You are an idiot. I don't care who you are. You ain't got to talk to me. You can be mad at me. I don't talk to none of y'all anyway. None of y'all. I don't talk. You are an idiot. Anybody thinks a born man should be playing women's sports, you are an idiot. And you are an insecure person. Okay? 9 out of 10 times, that ain't nothing but a play because motherfuckers not good enough to play with men. You want to just say you a woman and go play with women to try to dominate? That's whack. And you know what it is? It's mostly white men that ain't got no athleticism because we've been dominating basketball and sports, even our women dominating it. Now y'all want to try to put y'all men in women's sports to dominate it because we dominate basketball? Man, I know the play. But anybody who thinks this shit is cool is an idiot, straight idiot. I said.
Yeah, I think Kathy Engelbert has to start as the commissioner to look at this thing from a professionalism standpoint when it comes to the WNBA, which in my opinion was started with her and her dealings with the WNBA and their union as they were trying to get some of these deals done. The way she treated them. Nafisa Collier had to come out and say, okay, this is the way that I was responded to. I think that was the first black eye. But then you do this deal after 30 years and now they are getting paid to be professionals and you do have the TV contracts and now you're putting yourself in a position to uplift this league, right? For this league to truly ascend in the eyes of the viewers, in the eyes of the fans. And then every week it's some bull crap. Right, we're seeing players who don't even average 10 points a game, and every day that's who's on your networks or on your TVs and answering questions and.
All right, so here's another attack on Sophie Cunningham, because nobody cared about who was in front of the mic in the WNBA. They asked her a question, and she answered truthfully without attacking anybody. And she talked about defending little girls. I mean, this asshole has daughters, right? It doesn't matter how many games she won, right? It doesn't matter how many games she won. You know, about these things in sports, about popularity, about people who want to see people. There's more people who want to see Sophie Cunningham with her 9 or 10 points than some of the other stars in the WNBA. You know why? Because she's likable. Because when they put her on the screen, people watch. Because she's talking about basketball. And they ask her a question and she answers. You know, and she answered more truthfully than all you fake assholes out there who are trying to make wince words about how men should somehow be allowed to play in women's sports. They either could be allowed or they're not. All the rest of this shit you're saying, Ryan, is bullshit. And you're so pompous you can't even see it. I can see why they fired your ass from ESPN.
Starting back and forth about things that aren't basketball. What should be being talked about in this league is the Minnesota Lynx and Olivia Miles, who's come in as a rookie and taken over the league. And now Nafisa Collier is back, right? Kayla McBride hits 10 threes over the weekend. Talk about that. You know, talk about the Golden State Valkyrie, who now with Gabby Williams is a team that's there in second place as an expansion team. Oh, by the way, Asia Wilson still hoops. The Las Vegas Aces are still good. And Chelsea Gray people's minds. And the last thing is for me is if we are men, right, and as former athletes, and we understand how hard it is to get respect in the game, don't make a mockery of what these women are going through. Don't make jokes about things you'll never understand. Stay out of it. If you don't have some input, either right or wrong, that could be whether it's impactful or helpful, then let them people be. Because dudes who can no longer play, who want to make jokes about something that is incredibly serious, are absolute clown.
So it's incredibly serious. And you know what? They are clowning. They actually are clowning, but they're trying to draw something to a head. But, you know, that's the purpose, right? Sometimes you have to do things to draw things to a head, right? So no matter how much he calls, you know, Enos Cantor, you know, Royce White a clown, they made the commissioner, and she's an idiot too, have to convene some kind of think tank to determine what a woman is. She doesn't have to do that. It's already been preordained. You know, if there's any Christian left in you, we already know what a woman is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just enough talk. It's enough talk. So, like I said, so my one question is that I usually have these questions at the end. You know, my one question is, can the WNBA somehow in the end, actually do better than God and define what a woman is. So she's got this think tank that she put together. Now, does anybody out there think that Kathy Engelberg and whoever the hell she has on this panel is going to actually come up with something that outboxes God's design for man and woman? Does anybody really think that this stupid liberal, probably think tank of a whole bunch of orange-headed idiots are going to come up with something that that we should somehow follow and believe, that they know better than God? Listen, we used to be a Christian nation, a little bit of it. You know, everybody, even if you're not a practicing Christian or Muslim or Jew, none of them believe in the bullshit that's going on right now, except if you've been co-opted by the devil. You know, so I'm saying that just no matter what they do in this so-called, what they call think tank or whatever they call task force, is going to come up with an answer that is going to be accepted by by anybody. The only thing they need to say is that we define a woman that what you was born your biological sex, and just leave it at that. You know, so you can't just grow up and put a dress on or take some hormones and all of a sudden you're going to be accepted. Because most of the guys who are transgender women or whatever the hell you call them, they're not taking off their Johnsons. They're not. You know, if we had a number, you know, I didn't even look it up, but I'm sure the majority of these guys still have their balls. So there's still hormones flowing through their bodies. They're not women. And even if you cut them off, doesn't make you a woman. So anyway, so I didn't want to, so this was mostly WNBA centric. I think they're going down this path of destruction, all because they were jealous of one woman who came in 3 years ago who ignited the league, and they couldn't stand the lesbians, the black women, none of them couldn't stand that she was a white woman and she was straight. And she put butts in the seats, and she's the reason why they're all making $1 million contracts. But they want to find a way to destroy it, either by hurting her or by going down this transgender path, which is like a 90-10 thing, right? And destroying everything. The people are idiots. And guys like Ryan Clark and everybody else who's trying to make excuses for this thing, they're just idiots. They're just trying to pander because they know the money is where you got to be a liberal idiot in order to make money in the entertainment world. You can't really be a conservative. You're not going to get on, the proper platforms unless you bow down and kiss the ball. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my opinion on it. You know, I think that, hey, listen, if you want to be a transgender, great. But you can't, your rights do not supersede the rights of other people. They just don't. And as a black person, we had to realize that shit too. You know, we had to realize that your rights only go up to a certain amount. You can't start to take away from other people in order for you to feel fulfilled. You just can't do it. That's not how our Constitution or the Declaration of Independence works. It doesn't work that way. You know, so anyway, so this is my little segue, and I'm going to take you to church a little bit, you know, and to tell you if you're still around, you might like this one. God defined what a woman is when he made Eve.
When the noise gets loud and the world starts to spin, I stand on the truth that was written from within. No passing trend can redraw what was made in the start. God gave the name and it lives in the heart. Built with purpose, not by the pull of the crowd. God defined what a woman is when he made it, and no other definition is the one I believe. Through every changing voice, that truth will remain. Written in creation, unshaken like rain. Eve was made with a meaning no argument can erase. A reflection of design, a timeless and sacred grace. I don't bend my faith to the shifting lines they draw. What God defines stands firm beyond opinion or law. And I speak with conviction, steady, clear, and proud. God defined what a woman is when he made Eve, and no other definition is the one I believe. God defined what a woman is when he made it. And no other definition is the one I'm in the street. Through every changing voice, that truth will remain. Written in creation, unshaken like rain. So I hold to the beginning, where the truth was born by the word of the Maker. I won't be torn. Yeah.
All right, I'm back. Anyway, so listen, thanks for you guys stopping by and everything. Thanks, Katia and everybody else who's in chat. Hey, listen, I'm just serious. I think the WNBA is going down to this path, and I pray they make the right decisions, because they could really mess up what they got going on if they make the wrong ones. So anyhow, that's it for today. I don't have anything else. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Let me do this and just put it out there. And we're done. Hit the like button on the way out. Share this with some friends. And if you want to show somebody what that musical stuff is, I'm gonna put it up on my channel anyway by itself. Just share it and all that kind of stuff, or you can share as part of this live. And of course, copyright disclaimer. And we're out of here, and I appreciate it. And of course, I always hit it with my exit music. And until next Wednesday at 7:00, we'll be doing it all again. And maybe we'll have something else to talk about besides what the definition of a woman is.
Grab your friends, it's time to play. Join the fun, we're here all.
Mm.
Day. Watch the game with drinks in hand. On the swivel, let's take a stand. On the edge of our seats, we live for the thrill. In this moment together, we're feeling the chill. So here's to the laughter as we gaze at the stars. We say goodnight from the swivel at the sports bar. In the flicker of the screens where our spirits unite, let's cherish this time as we fade into light. Tasty bites and big screen thrills. Every moment gives you chills. High fives and cheers, it's quite a sight. Join the crowd, it feels so right. As the game goes on, our hearts beat as one. Memories in the making, oh, this night's just begun. So here's to the laughter as we gaze at the stars. We say goodnight from the swivel at the sports bar. In the flicker of the screens where our spirits unite, let's cherish this time as we fade into light. So good night, my friends, till we meet again. In this world of the game, through thick and through thin.